Hello, this is Ralph Brandt from the Fireside. I'm going to read a short chapter and then a longer one from the book Karen that I wrote some years ago. Karen is an actress who was wounded in a freeway shooting. About Karen. I had just written a couple of stories on leg amputation and had several ideas for a couple of stories with arm amputation. One of those is played out in Karen, the other Jan. A third one was not explored because it paralleled Denise, having Fritz make someone an offer, and it didn't turn out to be credible. I have been asked why I work with stories of amputees. There are several. First, they create situations that are emotionally charged, volatile, and tough. Second, they provide an opportunity to play out a lot of ideas. And third, although I'm not an expert on amputation, because of some personal issues 50 years ago, I have studied it and have periodically since. With that, we'll move on to the chapter Shooting on the Freeway. Karen Harris was a talented young woman who for 7 years was a rising star. She had significant roles in several programs between the time she was 15 and 20 and was the young lead on the program Southern High, which was Central Network's answer to the National Network's School Days. She was the blonde version of the dark-haired Denise Shore, much easier to work with, and at 22 looked no more than 15. The show, Southern High, debuted 2 years after School Days. Hence, the very popular older show had already built a loyal audience when it started. Southern High never caught a significant audience and was canceled in its third season. Most of the industry experts considered Central Network's decision to run it in the same time slot as School Days the reason for the failure, rather than the writing and acting, which were critically acclaimed. The network's attempt to steal the audience of School Days failed, and that killed the show. This was proven when its syndication airings on cable networks the year after cancellation got better audience ratings than its original ones, and as a rerun only slightly below the ratings of School Days. The public liked the show, but would not leave School Days. It was evident that most of its potential audience was watching the established show. They just couldn't be wooed away in large enough numbers to provide viable ratings. 15 years later, TiVo and other DVR products might have saved the show by allowing potential viewers to watch both shows, and it likely would have made the difference. Viewers that liked one show liked the other, and the big thing was School Days was there first and established a loyal audience. Videotaping did help the ratings some, but at the time it was not generally done by enough viewers. The difficulty in setting up the VCR to record a show and the inability of many cable viewers to watch one show and record another prevented the VCR from making enough of an impact. Southern High just couldn't pull a sufficient number of loyal School Days viewers away. When Karen finished Southern High, she signed on for one role after another for a year, sometimes appearing in a single episode, sometimes 2 or 3, never more than a half dozen. The big steady part just didn't happen, but she made enough money to live comfortably and build savings. She had great audience appeal. This continued for several years. Then the big break came. She was considered for a lead in a new police and detective series that was being planned, and she was signed. It was the role of her dreams. She was cast as a rookie cop, the partner of the lead, and the number 2 role in the series. She finished one season of the show and was signed for the second at a substantial increase. The audiences liked her. Surveys showed she was the show's draw for many of the viewers. She was worth more money. She finished the second year and again got a significant bonus to continue. On her way home one evening, 2 cars passed in the 2 lanes to her left. As they passed, she saw the windshield of her car shatter and felt pain in her right arm and chest. She lost control of the car. It rolled over, then flipped on its side and slid down the highway for over 100 yards on the passenger side. The car, a modest cream-colored Saturn L, shed pieces of the body, but the driver's area remained relatively intact. Police and paramedics were called. Passing motorists helped control the bleeding from 2 wounds in Karen's right chest and 4 in her right arm until they arrived. The airbags deployed and deflated long before the car stopped, but her seatbelt protected her from being thrown around in the car. Other than the bullet wounds, she had only cuts and bruises from the accident. The car's rollover cage protected her. She was conscious and told the police about the gunfire before being taken from the scene in an ambulance. The police cordoned off the car and started an investigation. This was a crime scene. They found 6 large jacketed slugs in the car. They also found shell casings from an AK-47 on the road near where the tire tracks indicated she began to lose control of her car. The large slugs in the AK-47 casings were consistent. Either Karen was the target of a shooting or an innocent victim of an on-the-road gang shootout. Several other witnesses, one whose car had been hit by stray bullets, believed 2 carloads of people were shooting at each other. This reduced the likelihood that she was the target. The witness was also able to provide descriptions of the cars, make, model, color, and also the first 3 letters of the license number of the one car and 2 letters of the other. Another witness was able to confirm the description of the one car and the last 2 digits of the one license. 3 other witnesses were able to provide portions of information about the cars as additional data or confirmation. The police had good leads. Even with this, Karen was placed under police guard for now in case she was the target. From the accident scene, Karen was taken to the ER and then to surgery. Her chest was opened, the bullets removed, and her lung was repaired. She had lost a lot of blood, but it could have been far worse. Had the bullets hit 4 to 6 inches to the left, she would have taken a fatal wound to the heart. With the surgery to fix the life-threatening condition finished, orthopedic, vascular, and neurological teams started working on her arm. They kept this as short as possible, doing only what was absolutely necessary for now because of her overall condition. She was reaching to adjust the visor when the bullet struck. 2 of the slugs took paths that rivaled Lee Harvey Oswald's magic bullet of Dealey Plaza. Her hand was nearly up to the visor, the palm of it facing the windshield when they struck. The first bullet entered the palm of her hand behind the wrist. At the angle of her arm, the bullet path nearly followed her arm towards the elbow, exited from the arm, and re-entered in her upper arm. The deformed and tumbling bullet tore into her biceps near the elbow and stopped near the shoulder. A second bullet entered the forearm about a third of the way between the elbow and wrist, traveled across the arm diagonally, exited it, and entered the upper arm, broke the bone, and lodged in the arm. A third bullet hit her elbow, shattering the joint, and passed through. A fourth bullet went through her armpit without hitting any bone, but had done significant vascular and nerve damage. The surgeons cleaned the shattered bone out of the elbow and replaced it with an artificial joint. A 7.62 millimeter AK-47 round is heavy and does a lot of damage in a joint. They pinned the fracture of the upper arm and attempted a reconstruction of the nerves, veins, and arteries in it. The surgeon did as much as possible to reconstruct her hand and wrist and splinted it with a plaster splint. Before she left the OR, they bandaged her arm. Only her fingers protruded from the bandage. As he left the OR, the orthopedic surgeon commented that she would need additional surgery on her hand. DMV records showed 2 possible matches for the one car and 3 for the other based on the information. Officers were dispatched to go to the addresses for each DMV record and see if they could locate the cars. Over the next day, they located the cars involved and were able to confirm which 2 were on site and were able to locate the owners and drivers. 2 of the 5 cars had bullet holes. One had blood stains on the front seat, and the other had blood on the back floor. Unless they were involved in another shootout, these were the cars. The other 3 cars had no damage, and 2 of them were not on the freeway at the time. The police found 4 gang members with bullet wounds. 1 was dead. 2 others would die in the OR. Karen had been caught in the crossfire of a serious gang shootout. She was lucky to be alive. By the next morning, Karen was awake. She had significant pain in her chest and upper arm, but was not running a fever, and her injured lung was sounding much better. The vascular surgeon came in to check her progress. She checked Karen's fingers and was able to detect good circulation. She said, "Why don't I feel anything when you touch my fingers? It's like they are not there." Dr. Tell responded, 4 bullets went through your arm. We did a lot of work to fix the damage. It will take time for the tissues to recover. I tried to move my fingers. I can't. Give it a few days. Your arm probably wouldn't have been hurt more if it had been run over by a truck. It was hit by 4 bullets. From the size of the one we took out, Dr. Filer thinks they were using AK-47s. That is a big bullet with a lot of energy. It does a lot of damage. How long will it be till I can get back to work? Well, that is more the area of the other doctors. They will be in later. I can tell you this much. You have a big hole they cut in your chest that has to heal. Your right lung was hit by 2 bullets and had to be repaired. On the good side, the chart says your lung sounds good. We don't want you to get an infection or pneumonia. I'll be watching the circulation in your hand. That appears good, a really good sign. You had no circulation in the hand and lower arm when you came in. The veins and arteries to your forearm and hand were destroyed at the elbow, and the artery in your armpit was cut. The paramedics put pressure on it till you got here. We were able to restore that circulation. I was reaching up to adjust the visor. We couldn't figure out how the bullets could have taken the paths they did. You should tell the police that. It may help them in their investigation. I think they talked to me at the accident. They probably did, but I am sure they will want to have you go back and see if you missed anything. I'll be back to see you tomorrow and the day after. Then my partner will be covering for a couple days. Then you expect me to be here for a week. Probably close to that, maybe a little more. The other doctors will more dictate that than me unless something goes wrong with the veins and arteries. Right now, it appears that if you take it easy and let your body heal, my part of this will be fine. Got to go, but if you have questions or concerns, have the nurse call me. Thanks. The orthopedic surgeon came in about an hour later. I'm between surgeries today. I'll take a look now. Unless there's a problem, I let my colleagues lead on your care for a couple days. I see Janet was in to see you. She thinks the circulation is good. Her arm was supported on a pillow. I will get them to fit you with a sling today to support your arm so that you can get up and walk. The guy who did your chest wants that so you don't get pneumonia or blood clots in your lungs. Try to not move your arm any more than necessary till we have a PT in, probably the day after tomorrow. They will give you some exercises to do. Start slow, follow the instructions. Any questions? How long till I can use my arm? Limited use, 4 to 5 weeks. Anything beyond that, maybe 6 to 8. Let the PT work with you and we'll see. But I have to get back to work. Miss Harris, right now your job is to get well. You took 2 big military rounds in the chest. They put some really nasty holes in your right lung. Had they been on the left side, we wouldn't be having this discussion. The person attending you would be a mortician, not a doctor. Had the 4 rounds that hit your arm hit your right chest, the result may have been the same. Your chest wounds were very serious. Your arm was badly damaged. We need to get you well, no matter how long it takes. She had tears. I'm sorry, I understand. It is hard to grasp when you're hurt that it will take time. We will help you get through this. Thanks. I will see you tomorrow morning to check on the PT. As he was leaving, a woman entered. I'm Dr. Patel, a neurosurgeon. I did the surgery on your arm. It has been almost a parade of doctors here. I will need credits to keep track of the cast. The doctor smiled. I understand. I saw Dr. Fowler leaving, and I saw on the chart that Dr. Tell has been here. Right now, there is not a lot I can tell you other than we have a lot of nerve damage in your arm, and we reconnected as much as we could. You may have some loss of sensation or movement. That will have to be determined as time goes on. I can't feel anything in my fingers at all. I can touch them and they aren't there. We'll watch that for a few days and see if it starts to come back. Will it? Your body will determine that. If it doesn't, we can do additional surgery to help it restore the function. Right now, it is wait and see. Dr. Ansel came in just after noon. He checked Karen's chest and listened to her lungs. How are you feeling? I hurt some, but not bad. I'm tired. Both are to be expected. You lost a lot of blood and your body will have to rebuild. If the pain gets bad, take some meds. Your chest sounds good. We want to get you up walking today. The one doctor said he wanted to get me a sling to hold my arm. I saw a PT down the hall carrying one. It's probably for you. She will probably have one of the nurses help her get you up for the first time. I just don't want to do something that hurts me. That's good. We put a lot of things back together in your arm and chest. We want them to heal. So take it slow and easy at first, but we need you up walking to keep you from getting pneumonia. I will try. How long will I be here? How long till I can get back to work? Karen, I am a doctor, not a fortune teller. But if things go well, we will be sending you home within a week, maybe a day or two more. You had 2 major surgeries yesterday. We did what we could. Now we need to see how your body begins to mend. I'm sorry, I just want to get back. I promise to do my best. You do that, we will support you with what you do, and we will get you back as fast as possible. Thanks. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. He had barely gone when the nurse and another woman come in. Hi, I'm Roan. I'm here to help you with PT today. First thing, we are going to get this sling on your arm, and then we will help you get out of bed and walk. They helped her get the sling on her arm, and Roan asked Karen to move her fingers. She was not able to do it. Karen passed it off as too early since the surgery. They helped her get to the side of the bed, then stand and walk. 20 minutes later, Karen was back in bed, tired but happy to get up. Roan told her she was to try to move her fingers and she could walk as much as she wanted if she had a nurse walk with her. She had a good lunch and dinner and was up several times. When she was in bed for long periods, they took off the sling and lay her arm on the pillow. She had several visitors in the evening.